All right. Well, I am going to introduce y'all to my friend Gaylene. She is helps with nutrition and fitness and making better choices in our life in midlife. So I'm going to let her actually tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to. I live in Canada. I am a holistic nutrition and health coach. So I work with women in my business fully online, and I work with women who are in that kind of midlife stage where I'm mid 40s, so 40s and 50s, going through that period in their life where they're done with the diets, they're done with that roller coaster and all the fads, they're done with those quick fix and magic wand pills and shakes, and they're really ready to create some healthy foundations. They're ready to truly make some changes that are going to set them up for success long term. And so I have been through quite a roller coaster in my own health. Even just in the last couple of years, I have a lot of different health things going on. And I know how important it is to prioritize our health when things are good so that when things are not good, we have something going for us. If you go into a diagnosis already exhausted and drained and not nourished, we really struggle. And so if we can do the best we can when things are good, then we're setting ourselves up for success long term. And so I work with women on a variety of different areas on their health, and I've been in doing it for over 20 years.
That's amazing. I was a single mom with three kids. And so we were always on the go. We were busy. We were doing things, and I totally neglected myself. And then
Yeah.
my kids are grown, and now I'm having these health issues that kind of really started when they were probably in junior high and high school, but have really come to the surface more so since I've been an empty nester. And so now I'm dealing with all of that and trying to get that back on track. And I know that's the case for lots of women in midlife because we're
Yeah,
taking care of everybody else and we're on
exactly.
the back burner. So do you see a lot of women that are at that point, like, I've got to change something up, do something different?
Yeah, and it kind of, hit me too when you said these problems probably started, a few years ago when the kids were still around and at home. But because you were so busy and you had so many things on your plate and you probably prioritized them, you kind of push your own stuff to the side and think, oh, it'll get better. Things will turn around. As soon as I have time, then I will make these changes. Or as soon as I have more energy, I will make these changes. Or as soon as there's always that hope that things will either get better on their own or that you'll have more time to do it later. And we need to almost step in front of it, right? It's like, let's address what's going on now before it gets bad, because once things get bad, it can be really hard to get out of that rut. And so absolutely encourage women to prioritize themselves, even when, I don't have kids, so I can't speak to how difficult that is.
Mhm.
But I have a lot of health problems. And so I know that it's not always easy to get up and go for, that exercise walk or get up and cook that healthy meal or have a restful sleep when you don't feel well. And so I know it's not an easy thing, but it is so important that absolutely I encourage women to do the best they can when they can, right? Your best, whatever your best is today is good enough. And it might be different than whatever your best is next week or next month or next year.
I like that. And I like the holistic approach that you take. And just in talking to you, and I know we've done some things together in the past too,
Yeah.
that it's, and like what you said at the beginning, we're past the fads, we're past the this, past the that. Because I know personally for me, you know, like, I thought I'd have more energy and feel great once the kids were gone. And actually, it's been the opposite. And I've struggled mentally and physically with dealing with that. And so, and I don't want someone to tell me, well, you've got to get up and you've got to eat this specific diet every day and you've got to exercise X amount of hours a day. And because I'm already overwhelmed and exhausted. And it's like, that's just more for me. So hearing my best today is good enough, that is so much more encouraging to
Yeah.
me than the
I
doctor saying, you
agree.
need to lose weight and exercise. And it's like, I know
Absolutely.
that.
And even though, so I am a certified holistic nutrition consultant, that's what I do, that's what I'm trained in. If I just came at people saying, like your example, you have to eat this. This is your meal plan. Eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is what you have to eat. And they're stressed out, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, they're not motivated. Are they actually going to follow that meal plan? And that's actually
Oh,
one of the things I see really missing of so many diets is that we're only tackling the food. Sure, you probably know that you should go and eat an apple, but there's a bag of chips right there. And that's easier, and that's what your body's craving. Or maybe, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're craving that sugar or caffeine to keep you going because you're tired. So if we just tackled things from that nutrition side, the diet industry wouldn't be the billion-dollar industry that it is, right? If diets worked, then there wouldn't be so much money in it. And so when I work with my clients, we go from, like you said, the holistic approach. I work with them on 4 pillars, and this is actually in my training. So we work on nutrition, yes, because it's important, but more so what I do on the nutrition side is let's add. I'm not here to tell you you can't eat that bag of chips, but I want you also to add in some specific nutrients depending on, your symptoms and so forth. So let's add in drinking some more water. Let's add in some berries and some fruits and some vegetables and some different things. We also work on movement. So I sit at a desk all day. I think you sit at your desk a lot too. And so we need to get up and move our body. We need to get our blood pumping. We need to do that. And when we do, if you and I went for a walk right now, we're going to come back feeling probably more motivated and more energetic than when we left. If we actually get our butt off the chair, we feel a little bit better. We get the blood pumping, and we're probably going to come back and have a big glass of water, not a big glass of Pepsi, right? We're going to come back feeling healthier. So that's the second pillar I work on. The third one is sleep. Because if you don't have a good night's sleep, you're not going to get up and make a healthy breakfast. You're not going to feel like going for a walk. You're not going to, it's that whole I got up on the wrong side of the bed thing. Everything that day is just a write-off. So we need to address our sleep, and sleep is such a huge issue. There's so many bodily functions that happen at night in bed when we're sleeping in our brain and in our bodies. So we need a good night's sleep. And then the fourth pillar is the stress and the mindset, right? If you're overwhelmed and you're stressed out and you're tired and you're cranky and you're all these things, then what does it matter if I tell you to have salad for lunch and here's your meal plan? And so when we take this holistic approach, results are easier, it's more enjoyable, and we can create a health program that actually lasts long term. It's not that quick fix. Maybe things are not instantly. You're not going to lose 10 pounds by Friday, but that's not our goal in life anymore, right? It's to actually feel good in our body and be able to have the energy to do the things that we love and actually enjoy them long term, to look forward to things, not dread it because we're so tired. And so I like that you appreciate that holistic approach. It's so important for me, for my clients, and in all of the work that I do.
and your 4 pillars are so fundamental and important on their own, but even working together. I did the quiz that you give,
Oh, good. Yeah.
and mine is movement.
Uh-huh. So
Definitely
is
is
mine, actually.
my main
Hmm.
pillar is the movement. And with the chronic illness I deal with a lot of pain, and moving, a lot of movement actually makes that worse. So I'm having to implement, like, every hour or two, I just get up and I walk around the house for a few minutes,
Hmm.
and um, I have to, and then that mindset comes in. I have to tell myself that's okay. That is what you can do today.
That's your
Doesn't
best
mean the
today.
rest of my life, but
Mhm.
my best today. So I really like that. And I like the fact that, you know, it is not a quick fix. And I'm not looking for a quick fix. I mean, I'm 47. I've got a lot of life left to live, and I need to be making simple changes in my lifestyle that are sustainable so that I can enjoy the rest of my life doing the things that I want to
Yeah.
do and stuff. And so I really, really love your approach.
Yeah. And when with the quiz, so Selena will have the quiz for you guys all somewhere, but when you take the quiz, what I want to do with it also is to remove some of that overwhelm. Because if you have a chronic illness and you and I both have health problems, if you have something going on, then it feels like I also need to do all those things Gaylene just said. Well, I'm not sleeping well, so I need to do that. I do need to eat better. I do need to exercise more. I do need to manage my stress. So now we have this massive to-do list. It is going to create more overwhelm. And so, what the quiz does is to help to narrow it down into here's one thing that I want you to focus on today that's probably going to help everything. right? If you just work on your movement, let's say this week, you kind of let everything else go. Don't put pressure on yourself to do all the things. Let's just try get you moving your body a little bit more this week. If you get moving your body more, like we said, you're going to come back and have a glass of water,
Right.
right? If you move your body more, you're probably going to sleep better tonight.
Yes.
If you move your body more, so all these other pillars improve as well when we just pick the one. So the quiz helps us to pick the one thing, the one pillar, the one area to focus on, which in turn helps all of the rest as well.
Yes. I think that is genius. I mean, that is
Mhm.
great. And
It's one of
so,
the secrets to my clients' success, honestly. It's so simple,
mhm.
but because there's so much information out there on the internet and in the world, and there's all
Oh,
these things you should do, Selena, that it's overwhelming, right? You like read this and read that and hear this and hear that. And it's like there's so much pressure that how do we do it? Well, we need to do one thing at a time, pick one thing to focus on.
that's right. And I'm a registered nurse. That's my full-time job. So it's like, I know I need to exercise and I need to eat better and this and that, but I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I just want to eat that new Bluebell ice cream that came out. You know, it's just like a lot of times we know what we need to do. It's
Yeah.
not that we don't know. It is taking those first steps and doing it. And a lot of times we feel like it's got to be all or nothing, or that's how I feel,
Yeah.
anyways. Like I've got to be 100% in this. I did the 75-day challenge. Have you heard of that before?
Was
I
it?
can't remember the name of the guy that does it, but
Okay.
for 75 days, you do these five things every day for 75 days. And if you don't do it, you
Mhm.
got to restart the challenge.
Oh,
And
wow.
he created it to kind of like make a promise to yourself and keep it to help you mentally, but it also helps you physically.
Yeah.
It was 75 hard days. So every day you have to take a picture of yourself. That's the easiest thing. You have to drink a gallon of water.
Hmm.
You have to pick a diet and stick to it, whatever that diet is. I did Weight Watchers so I could have some flexibility in my
Hmm.
diet because I don't like to eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
You have to read 10 minutes a day, which is not bad.
Anything?
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to exercise twice for 45 minutes each time, and one has to be outside.
Two 45-minute sessions each day?
Yes. And one of those
Wow.
sessions have to be outside. And you can't do them consecutively. Like you can't work
Yeah.
out, straight. That was extremely hard. I did it because I wanted to keep the promise to myself and say that I
Hmm.
did it. I don't know that I would ever do it again.
Hmm.
Um, it helped me mentally, and didn't do strenuous. Like sometimes I'd go for a walk outside, and then I'd do some stretching or simple things, nothing big. But that also was so stressing to me because it's like I've got to do all these five things every day and I
You're
can't miss
proving to
it.
self you can do it, but is it
Right.
sustainable long term?
Right. And that's the thing, it's not. And so then
Yeah.
when I hit day 76, it's like I'm not doing anything. And then it was like, well,
Where's
now
that
you've
ice
broken
cream that
this.
I've been eyeing up?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's like I broke everything. So it is these fads, these things like that, it's like it's not sustainable. And at
Yeah.
this point in my life, I need something that is more sustainable. So I love
Mhm.
the way that you approach this and you're going at it.
Yeah. So over the last couple years, I mentioned I've had a lot of health stuff going on, and it has been a roller coaster. And I'll share just kind of a little bit more to give you all some insight into this because when we think about what's sustainable and you're having a really good day now, you might tackle a diet or a 75-day plan. And sure, I can do this. But then something happens in our life and we can't keep it up. And then you're done the challenge and you think, well, I'm not going to do any of this.
Right.
Right. And now all of a sudden we fall off the horse. So a couple of years ago, I had a really bad snowboarding accident and I hurt my neck really bad. And I did all the physio and rehab and saw all the doctors and did all the things and it did not work. And I ended up going in for surgery. You can see a big slice across my neck. So I had surgery and I prepped for it, right? I knew surgery was coming. Luckily, because some people, have to go get surgery that day, I was able to prep for it. So I dialed in my 4 pillars and I was eating healthy and nourishing my body and getting all my blood tests and taking the supplements and seeing physio. And, I was doing all the things. I was really working hard to be as healthy as I could to go in for surgery. And I'm so grateful that I did because I knew that I was going to be in bed for a while after. I knew because it was my throat and it was a pretty major surgery. It was to my spine through my throat. I won't go into the details, but I wasn't going to be able to eat very much for a while either.
Oh,
So you think about recovering from something like that. If I wasn't healthy going into that, that would have been a very difficult recovery. Couldn't exercise, I couldn't eat, I couldn't, going coming out of a surgery like that, think of your mindset, think of my 4 pillars. And so I went into it as good as I possibly could, and I'm so grateful that I did. But a few months later, I had a pretty severe complication. We don't know if it's attached to the surgery or not because it was a couple months later, and I don't need to go into all the details about it, but it was a pretty serious issue that led to brain damage. And I had not planned for that. I thought, here's surgery. I have this period of recovery. I'm back to physio. Start to get your life back. And then you have a setback. You have something else happen that's not planned. And now I felt horrible. I was extremely sick. I was in and out of the hospital. So I wasn't eating healthy. I definitely was not exercising. I was not sleeping. I was stressed out. All of my pillars were down the drain. And so when things are that bad, you do the best you can that day, right? So if the best I can is to drink a little bit more water or have an extra nap or try and just walk around a little bit, if you know that there's another side, right? It's you're like, okay, I'm gonna feel like this for a week or a month. You have a cold or a flu, there's an end to it. But when you're going through a serious health crisis or you have a chronic health condition, we don't know what the end is. So we can't say, oh, I'll start eating healthy when I feel better.
mhm.
I'll exercise more when I have more energy. I will take better care of myself when I have more time. Because when we're going through something like that, we don't know
Right.
what's coming out the other side. We don't know that we're going to have more time or more energy or more motivation or more energy to do it. And so we still have to take time to prioritize ourselves now, regardless of what is going on in our lives today. And so me going through my last couple of years I've been in the health and wellness space for over 20 years. And I'm a massage therapist and I do all kinds of different things. But in my in my business the way it is now, I'm so grateful that I've really prioritized all of these things leading into this. But going through something has reiterated, it's really shown me the importance again as to, getting this message out and encouraging people and trying to motivate them and figuring out what that is going to be for you today, right? Like you today or you tomorrow. And so when we're having all of these different messages coming at us and we have all of these different things going on in our lives, we still have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And so that is my biggest message that I have for everybody is to take the time to prioritize you and do the best you can today.
That's great. And so, what is one or two things you could do for somebody that is there's no motivation. It's not a day that I'm feeling good at all, and but I know I need to do something. Do you have a tip or a trick or
Yeah. And again, it's going to be something in the 4 pillars, right? It's something. We need to do something. So if the first thing we need is some type of motivation, because we don't even have that, then I would say Google a YouTube video. If you have literally nothing, then we need to find it. So either hire a coach, right? Work with a health coach, Google a YouTube video, find somebody motivating that you like to listen to and follow. You can Google a motivational video on YouTube and listen to something that resonates with you. Or call a friend or get up and dance or do something that feels good for you that you think will get you through to that next step. And then what the next step is if I was to say, one thing, it would be different for everyone. So I then would say take my quiz because at the end of the quiz, you get a little three-step plan. So for nutrition, for example, maybe it'll give you three examples of what you could do. So for example, one of them will be drink more water. Okay, then that's the only thing you have to do today is pick one of those things and do that. Pick another one from tomorrow. And so it's hard to say that there's one thing because it is
Right.
going to be different for
Yeah.
everybody. It's different for me than it is for you.
Yeah. But I love that. Those are simple, tangible things that I myself could do or anybody could do to really give us that little kick that we need to do something. And what we do today is the best that we do today. And that is so powerful. That's a statement that's going to stick with me for sure.
Yeah. And I think if somebody's watching this video, they're already in a place that they want to do better, right? They want to learn more. If they've listened this far through the video, they're not in that place that they're so unmotivated, they're not doing anything. So if you've listened this far, you're already further ahead than the majority of people who are not even, putting in any effort. And so figure out what that's going to be for you. Do you need someone to be an accountability partner? Then find that. Do you need a coach to get you going and to teach you and help you? Find that. Do you need a 75-day challenge or an app that you get to like tick things off, right? Because I'm a bit of that kind of person as well. I like having a bit of a to-do list. If figure out what your learning style is and what motivates you and do that.
I love that. I love that. So, if somebody has listened this far into our conversation and they're like, I love this lady's approach, how can they find you? What can you help them with? How does that work?
Yeah, so I do offer health coaching. That is what I do. It's online, so I work with women from all over. I am in Canada, so it's snowy and cold here today, but you can live anywhere in the world. And I work with women in a few different ways. I have online coaching programs and then different levels of actual coaching with me. So for example, I have a membership that is mostly self-study, and then if you need help, you can reach out and get it. Or I have the more intensives where we work really closely together for 3 months to like get you back on track, build out these healthy habits, work through all four pillars, set you up for that longer term success. So we can work really closely together in the beginning. And then I set you a little bit more free moving on your own. So depending on what your learning style is, but anyone that comes to me, we're going to put you through the four pillars because I don't usually tackle just one piece of it alone. If someone comes and says, put me on a diet, I'll probably say no. We need to address all of this. So if you like that style, then absolutely connect and reach out. I do offer free first calls. So if you want to hop on the phone with me and chat through what you're going through and what you've tried and what you're working towards, I'm sure Selena can put a link here where you can
Yeah, definitely.
connect with me moving forward. But my name is Gaylene Gomez. I'm in Alberta, Canada. My business is called Compass Rose Nutrition and Wellness. So I have tons of blogs on my website and I have lots of stuff I can work you through.
That's great. And I will put the links to your website, to your free quiz that they can take to find
Perfect.
out which pillar they need to work on. Um, and your website is so user friendly. I've looked at it multiple
Oh,
times.
good.
You
Thank
can find
you.
out so much. And yes, the blogs and stuff that you write about, I mean, it's just a wealth of information. And I have really enjoyed talking with you. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me. It's
Because I
nice to
think this
chat.
is so important, and midlife is just definitely the time for us to, you know, try new things, do things differently, and get some sustainability, but not feel the pressure that we've had on us up until this point. So I
Yep. If we've
think
been
it's
doing something that hasn't worked, we don't keep doing it, right? We try
right.
something new, figure out a plan that's going to work for us long term.
That's right. And I like the fact that as the health coach and the nutritional coach, you're not just here, do this exercise, do this diet. You're like, hey, let's look at your life. Let's take a look and let's see in every aspect how we can help and how one thing works with the other. Because a lot of times, me being a nurse and people go to the doctor and, a lot of times it's like, just do this. Well, there's a reason that I'm having all this pain. Let's figure out what that reason is. And so the coaching aspect of it, I really enjoy. And I don't think a lot of people understand. It's kind of just helping you, guiding you to look deeper and to kind of discover what else could be the reason that you're not sleeping good. Um,
Yeah. Again, I've had a crazy couple of years, and what happens, and I'm so appreciative of the medical industry. I don't dismiss it at all. It's there for a reason, and in emergencies, we absolutely need it. But nurses and doctors are so limited on the time that they have to put into each patient, and they are there to fix things that have gotten past the point that now they need medical intervention, right? They're at that point now, we need that. So my goal is to help women before we really get to that point. And like you said, let's figure out what's going on. Because if we can actually stop you from having that symptom, you're not going to get to that point. Now, if we're already at the point where we have a medical diagnosis, then I also can work with the doctor. And the doctors are generally really happy to have their clients also work with a nutrition coach to help them figure out how to eat. The doctors will say, I need you to eat healthy, but they don't have time to sit with you to say, here's what you need to do. So having kind of a combined approach as well with the variety of health professionals is so important. But you're right, if you have a symptom or a diagnosis or something going on in your life, if you don't have to live with it forever, you don't want to. So let's figure out what's causing it and see what we can do to reduce you from having those symptoms in the first place.
Yeah, definitely. I love that you can, work. You're not saying don't listen to your doctor or anything like that, but they're
No.
busy. They're take care of a lot of people. They don't have the ability to sit down and really talk at length and teach and educate and guide. And so that's where the coaching comes in, which is so amazing. And you're
Yeah, and
so simple.
doctors generally are not going to meet with you, once a week to talk through everything, right? They're not going to send you a voice memo in the morning to say, "Hey, good morning. How'd you sleep last night? Remember to drink your water today. Remember that your plan for today is to, go for a nice walk outside." Your family practitioner does not have the time or bandwidth to do that for all of their patients, and having a coach kind of fills that gap. So that's where we go thinking about, what do you need for support? Do you need accountability? Because if you need accountability, a doctor's not generally the person that you need. Do you
Right.
need a medical intervention right now? Then yes, absolutely go to your doctor. But we have to think about what you need when it comes to transforming your health and implementing these pillars and learning about the pillars and then actually doing them. Figuring out what that looks like is going to be a little bit different for everyone. So it could be an accountability buddy, it could be your neighbor, it could be a friend, it could be whoever. But if you need a coach, there is definitely specific things that we can do as coaches to help fill in some of those bigger gaps that make this a long-term, healthy, sustainable program.
Yes, and I love that. And I love the four pillars. It's such an easy approach, but it
Mhm.
gets everything, it captures everything. And so I want to encourage everybody to go take the quiz,
Yeah.
find out what your pillar is, and start
Hit
working.
reply to the email that it sends you, because when you take the quiz, it'll send you an email. Hit reply to that. Let me know how it resonates for you, and we'll make sure you're on a good plan for your next steps.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
you.
Thanks for having me, Selena.